Let's go to Texas now, where the weekend wedding of Jenna Bush is putting the focus on the tiny town of Crawford. Joining me now is David Modigliani, the producer and director of Crawford, the movie. So, David, with a good morning to you. Is this the biggest Bush event this town has ever seen?
Oh, I don't think so.
Really?
As the film shows, the town of Crawford has been through quite a journey through the last 8 years. The day that Bush announced he was moving to Crawford, every store on Main Street was bought in a day. And by 2005, when Cindy Sheehan arrived and then the counter-protesters arrived, you had one day in August with 20,000 people in this 700-person town. So today is a little bit of a lighter day in Crawford.
I guess so. Let's talk about how much the Bush family story is now intertwined with Crawford and vice versa. What's it all about?
Absolutely. You know, I think George Bush moved to Crawford in 1999, just a couple of months before he announced his candidacy. And as one gentleman in the film says, why would Bush choose August in Crawford for his vacation? Why wouldn't he go to Maui? As a history teacher in the film says, she thinks he needed a place to be from, a place to create a small town folksy image. And the bale of hay, the farm machinery behind me sort of helped him create that political persona.
How about the Crawford residents? David, how do they feel about him and First Family overall?
Well, after 3 years making a film in Crawford, the one thing I can say is I can never predict what the people of Crawford will say. But as the Baptist pastor in the film says, in 2000, not 100% of his members voted for Bush, but 99.9%. I think, you know, by this point, some of the folks in town feel a little bit like it's a novelty, and, you know, maybe the novelty is worn off, and they'll be relieved when the presidency is over. I think things in Crawford are returning to normal, but they'll never quite really be the same.
Yeah. There are upsides and downsides, certainly, to the attention the First Family brings. What are some of those, just on a practical level?
Sure, I think on the upside, you know, the kids in Crawford became much more politically engaged. When you have media and, you know, the Prince of Saudi Arabia visiting and protesters in your backyard, you sort of have to pay attention to current events. On the downside, you know, I think being at the center of these protests and having their daily lives interrupted, they say, you know, we can't drive on our roads sometimes. I think that's been a little bit difficult. Sort of thrust into the spotlight for some of this political stagecraft has been hard on the town.
Where are you from? Are you from Crawford?
I live in Austin, Texas, which is about an hour and a half away.
Okay, and the idea for this movie came from where?
I was duped. I thought that Bush was actually from Crawford, Texas, but when I found out that he had moved here in '99, just a couple months before he announced his candidacy, I became very intrigued with what it would be like in this 705-person, one-stoplight town to have the president move in. Yeah,
well, I'm sure the movie's interesting because when you put it that way, it's like, yeah, what does happen there? So anyway, how long is the film?
The film's 72 minutes long. It's been playing on festivals across the country, and the trailer is at crawfordmovie.com.
Okay, well, we're going to have to check that out. David Modigliani, thank you very much for weighing in. We do appreciate your insights.
Thanks. Thank you. It was my pleasure.